My next guest has finally got a fight. He's going to be taking on Mark Madsen on short notice at UFC Fight Night, November 5th. It's Grant Dawson live, I'm assuming in his backyard or somewhere nice. Grant, how's it going?
It's going, man, and you are correct. I'm in my backyard soaking up the Florida sun, my favorite thing to do when I'm not training.
Yeah, it is so good to see you get a fight booked. I was kind of joking about it off the top there. You had told me a couple of weeks ago you've gone through like 6 different opponents, and then obviously Drakkar Klose falling out of this fight. How frustrating has this process been, just getting that next fight?
I wouldn't say it's frustrating, as more so just stressful. We all have our part to play. I've got dogs to feed and a fiance that I'm marrying in 2 weeks. So, 3 weeks, sorry. So, it was definitely one of those things where it was like, man, am I going to get to fight again this year? What is this going to look like? How are we going to get this done? And luckily, finally, something came through. Like you said, I had 6 different opponents. I said yes to all 6 of them. They all ended up getting booked against somebody else for some weird reason. And then Mark Madsen had somebody fall out. They moved his fight to the date that I was scheduled to be on, luckily for me. So we're good to go. We got an opponent, a very tough opponent, somebody that definitely gets me rank once I beat him, undefeated. I'm super excited for this challenge, and it is definitely a challenge.
Don't want to get anyone in trouble here, but I still got to do my job anyways. Any names you can mention that didn't end up taking a fight with you, or fights, fighters that ended up getting booked with other fights?
There were a couple. Dan Hooker was one. Diego Fajeda, Demir Ismagulov, like, just the name. I don't want to get into it, man.
No, for sure. I get it. Trust me. I don't ruffle any feathers here, but at the same time, I'm sure people want to know, what's going on in the division. So yeah, very well said there. Now, when this fight was announced, so I saw this on social media and I contacted your management. I was like, oh, great. Grant's finally got a fight. I had heard that you had not even got the bout agreement yet, that it was just like out there that Madsen and you were going to fight. Take me through you actually like signing and getting this fight.
Well, it really went down to, hey, you're not fighting. And so I went and started to not eat very clean. And luckily my weight was low enough that it didn't really affect me. We're going to make weight just fine. I took a couple of days, off from super hard training. And then my manager calls me and it says, hey, can you make 155 a week early? And I was like, I don't think so. I don't think a week early. I'm a big 55er. What we were planning was going according to plan, but a week early, I'm just not sure. And he said, what about 160? And I said, I think I can do 160. I don't know if it was Sean. I don't know if it was Mark Madsen, but they didn't want to do 160. They wanted 155. So they pushed it to the week that I was supposed to be fighting anyway, because they had a bout fall out. And that I could still make 155. Give me that extra 7 days to make the weight. We're all good. But I'm ready to go, man. I've been in camp for 8 weeks now with no opponent. Well, training for 6 different people. So really, this doesn't change anything. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do exactly what I normally do.
You must have been putting on some size, because people know you used to fight at 145, and I know part of the reason you had moved up was because, you needed time to cut the weight. So if making 155 is, like you said, you need some time. Have you been really putting on a lot of size since moving up to the weight class?
Yeah. I'm a big boy. I'm a big boy.
Okay.
So I feel like I went from an average size 55er to quite a big 55er. So I'm really happy about that.
Let's talk about Madsen. Obviously, great wrestler and undefeated. That's always nice, getting to fight someone that has not had a loss yet. You can be that first guy to do that. Just how are you looking at this fight style-wise?
Oh, it's very tough. Very, very tough fight. Olympic silver medalist, undefeated, unbeaten in the UFC. I know how tough he is. This isn't like 2 grapplers versus each other that makes this so interesting. This is 2 lifelong competitors versus each other. This man knows how to compete and win. I know how to compete and win. We're going to see who's better at competing and winning here.
If we listed all your training partners in American Top Team, we'd be here all day. But is there anyone you're working with a little bit more? And I'll add a little side note. Obviously, Dustin Poirier's got his fight coming up here, I think a week after you. So I'm sure you've got some working with him. Yeah,
man, me and Dustin have been going quite a bit, especially since we didn't know who I was fighting. I was kind of just getting looks with everybody. But, my 3 main training partners, I would say, are Nathan Schulte, and Thiago Moises, as always. And then Dustin and I got a lot in. My boy, me and George Masvidal, at least once a week. We always like getting rounds in no matter who I'm fighting. So I've definitely been getting top level dudes, and I'm definitely ready for this challenge.
The entire time you and I have been doing interviews, you've never been short on confidence, but I got to ask, being in there with those names I just mentioned, like how much does that raise the confidence getting to work with guys that are ranked or guys that are, household names in the UFC and you're getting to work with them every day? Like how does that feel going into a big fight like this?
Oh, it's huge. It's absolutely humongous. It's one of the biggest things. And one of the biggest reasons why I moved to American Top Team is like, you look around the room and you're having a bad day and you're like, man, I need an easy round. And then you look around the room and say, crap, I am the easy round. So it's like when you have good days, it just skyrockets you. And when you have bad days, you're a little bit easier on yourself because it's like, okay, I'm not losing to any scrubs. I'm losing to really, really good guys. And I got to tell you, my confidence is an all-time high. I think my skill is at an all-time high. I really don't see very many people beating me right now. Give me another, let's say 3 years. I don't think anybody in the division beats me.
Your corner, how's that going to look going into the fight? Who's going to be in the cage with you?
So I've got Thiago Moises, Thiago Alves, and then Mike Brown couldn't make it this time. So I've got my wrestling coach, Steve Mako.
Awesome. That's great, man. And how's this one playing out on November 5th?
We get our hand raised, man. I'm not exactly sure how. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. I definitely think this is going to be fight of the night. I definitely think this is going to be two of the best competitors in the division facing each other, and I'm going to get my hand raised.
At the top of your division, we just had the lightweight title fight last Saturday. Your impressions of Islam Makhachev defeating Charles Oliveira?
Impressive, man. People have beaten Charles, but nobody's beaten Charles like that. I think that's very impressive, and I think it's set the bar just a little bit higher for our division. As
far as you go, a couple more fights left in your contract, if I'm not mistaken, or what's the latest with your contract? I always like getting an update, seeing what's going on there.
I think I have three. Oh,
left. Gotcha. Yeah, so that's good. That's always nice. And how's Florida, man? Like, it seems like this has been such a good fit for you and Elle, and you're getting the vitamin D, and you get good training partners. Like, have you kind of been able to, no pun intended, soak it all in?
Yeah, man. I think we were just talking about it the other day, me and Elle, just how blessed we are, man. Like, we are in a sport where we can literally do what we want to do, go where we want to go, and Florida is definitely a place that we enjoy being. Not just the gym, although that is a huge part of it. It's so much nicer. Everybody back in Missouri is freezing their tails off right now with this October weather. And I'm out here in my underwear soaking up the sun, man. I absolutely love it here.
I know you don't get to work with him at all, or I don't know how often he's in the gym, but Bo Nickal, have you seen him at all in the gym, or just your overall impressions of him, making this big statement already, and he hasn't even had a UFC fight yet?
I have worked with Bo. We've grappled a couple of times, and I think anytime you put two wrestlers, he wrestled way higher level than me, obviously, but we are still two wrestlers. I think anytime you put us in a room, we're gonna get along. I like Bo a lot. I think he's really, really good, and I definitely think that with his wrestling and grappling alone, he has the potential to be a UFC champion. I've grappled with him, and like a lot of these wrestlers that I grapple with, I know he's bigger, but a lot of these wrestlers that I grapple with are just good control guys. Not this guy. He's going for finishes. He's staying in good position. He's got really, really high fight IQ for somebody that has very few fights. So I definitely expect big things from him. I do think that there are some fights that are a little too much too soon. But I'm telling you, if you give him 3 fights in the UFC outside of the top 15, I think that he'll be a world champion once he gets that figured out.
Before we go, do you guys have a wedding date yet? Have you figured that out yet?
Oh, yeah, November 20th. We've known for a year.
Oh, okay, so cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you had... Yeah.
The 5th, and then November 20th. So Dana White, if you want to give me an early wedding present with that 50 G's, that'd be really nice. Are
you going to announce your wedding registry after the fight, like so people can give you stuff for the wedding or anything?
Yeah, I'm down. I'm going to tell Dana. Tell Dana, hey, I'm getting married. I know you can't make it, but that 50 grand after I finish Mark Madsen would be.
And any concerns about the wedding photos? Because it is cutting it close, right?
Nah, man. Nah, it'll be all right. I've devoted my life to this sport. I missed my senior homecoming because I had a fight. I missed my sister's wedding. She got married like a month or two ago, and I missed it because I knew I had this fight. I can deal with a couple of pictures of me cut up a little bit.
There you go. And plus, it helps when you're marrying a fellow fighter. I'm sure she'll understand. Grant, thanks so much for doing this, man. Like I said, I'd feel so guilty if I kept you here any longer, man. You go enjoy that vitamin D. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors or any social media you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
guys, just follow me on Instagram. I just want to thank my coaches, Pitbull, Moises, and Mike Brown, Steve Mako, everybody at ATT. You guys have been great. I think this is going to be one of my best performances, and I think everybody's going to view me as a future world champion contender soon. So thank you to everybody.